Yeah.
All right. Well,
I
let's get
hope.
started then. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Well, you have a bunch of times to be good, right? We have a
Yeah.
hour plus of time, or however long we need to get to the bottom of everything. Okay. So welcome. Congrats on
Yeah.
winning
Thanks.
the giveaway.
Woohoo.
Hype. You are on a Dawn Warrior and going into the 280s. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Working towards Extreme Lotus. And then you got the Sunday event. Looking where to spend all your money. Okay. 8 to 10 bill a week. That's a good start. But yeah, once you get into Eternals and stuff, that can get quite pricey, right? Have you started doing some of that?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Where's the Eternals at right now? Has anything
No,
materialized?
so I boomed the hat that I had before.
Okay.
Yeah, it was kind of sad. It was it got to 17 and then I tried to one tap it to 18 and then just sad.
Yeah. If it's a 17, I mean, yeah, you can commit a hard commit to a 17, but you can't really switch into it anyway, so
Yeah, I mean, like, I had the mentality for everything else is just like, just kind of just go for it, just send it. I mean, I did ask some people, and they're like, "Yeah, that sounds like a good idea." But I mean, is there? I mean, I looked at other options, or I guess like asked around what other options I have for Eternals, and I guess I got some feedback regarding doing an arcane hat to 22, and then doing the body, getting the top and bottom to like 18 or something for
yeah,
for
that's the
more
main.
gains, I guess, or potential gains.
Yeah.
Going
Yeah,
that
so the main
route,
approach
yeah.
is, if you go one piece, it has to probably be at least 21. If you go two pieces, then, 18 is probably fine. And then if you want to make sure you don't lose too much damage, you can switch the hat. But, I mean, you're also at that point, if you're switching all of those, yeah, right? And then after that, that means you can pretty much go like full on the hat to switch it out. So then you have that 22 or nothing, and you don't have to worry too much.
Yeah.
It's just a bit awkward at this point, like switching. And the main thing that will determine whether you want to get like small gains or if you just go full on 22 or nothing is whether you can already get the like doing C Kalos or not. Once you're doing C Kalos, you can go much more rigorous in terms of just go 22 or nothing, because then you're gonna get your pieces at a decent pace either way. But if you're still at normal Kalos, then you probably want to take the damage that you can. And for some classes and for some characters, that means you probably want to have two pieces at 18 or two pieces at 19 or something like that to start getting into the set to get that damage. And for other classes, especially if you're support, and you're running with your friends and it's okay to blue dot, then it's probably fine to, keep sitting on your CRA and just go 22 or nothing, and then you don't really have to worry about all that as much. Because we're kind of on that cusp. I think as we get more, as we get our third and fourth masteries and everything, and as people get more Hexa damage as well, we'll probably see more people just, again, go back to just full YOLO, like 22 or nothing their piece, until you blow up like 4 or 5 or 6, and then most people are like, well, I want to actually see the Eternal pieces, Once you boom that many, a lot of people tend to switch strategy at that point to just at least see themselves move into the pieces, which is, understandable.
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially if I'm just starting now, it's just like, what is the best approach? I guess everyone kind of just does their own thing, or differently, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I think as long as it synergizes with with your input and which progress you're looking for, then it's fine. So if you're part of a party that's like slowly progressing and you guys are not ready for the next boss anyway, then you can do the slow move and keep it more safe and do 17 and 19 at most for switching over, so you can already get that nice damage. What I did,
I run with friends. I run with friends, so we're all like kind of they're a little bit stronger than I am, but we all kind of just do it together.
Yeah.
preferably. Yeah.
Yeah, so the more careful approach that I did was like, well, for my first one, I went to full on. I tried to go for 22, and it went. So then for the
Oh
second
my
and the
god.
third one, I got both of them to what was it? I got both to 19, and then
Oh.
was fully switched basically in
Mm-hmm.
one event, and then it was full 4, and then from there I made a backup to like on the side to 21, with the idea that if the existing one could then go 22 or nothing, right? And then if it failed, I could still upgrade to the 21, even if the
Yeah.
potential was a little bit lower and the flame was a little bit lower, it would still be an upgrade. And then from there on out, I could take the old trace that was a better potential and a better flame, and I could 22 or nothing that one. It's more expensive that way and more risk averse, but it is a more linear like progression approach.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
and then once you get to the last piece, which is where I'm at now, then you don't have to do that anymore, because then once you have the shoulder, basically, because then all the culling and all the Kalos pieces, and now you're probably doing at least like sea Kalos and normal culling, then all of those pieces go into one. So then now I'm like, I have a 19 top and 2 backups this event. I was like, now what do? I don't really want to do the 21 on the side anymore, because then you're just sitting, on that. So do I just skip this event, wait until I have like 4 backups, and then just 22 or nothing? Because now with 2 backups, there's still, I think, a decent chance that I have to go down from 19, like down to 17 or 18, which I don't really want to do, because, we're getting so close to limbo, and then limbo pieces will help me get to the 6th set again. So that's kind of where I'm probably going to pause a little bit, I think, skip one event, and wait until I have more pieces, and then full send, I think.
Yeah. It's just so long.
Yeah, especially if you're just doing easy. Yes, I
Yeah.
mean, it's so long and it's so bad, but then you compare it to like switching it to pitched, and it's still better.
We just started
guaranteed,
EQing.
right?
But our group has been doing end Kalos for quite a bit.
Okay, nice.
But yeah, it's just the waiting game.
Yeah, I mean, I think the pitch waiting game is like twice as bad. So, I mean, once you do start finally hitting some pitches, then the only pitches you seem to keep getting is the ones that you've already finished, and it's like, wow, thank you, nice. And you're just sit there waiting for a few. How's the pitch progression coming?
I think it's
Because I see some
good
traces.
considering how like when I started.
Okay.
I feel like compared to like my people that I've talked to, my friends, I feel like I have a higher average of getting pitch than most. So right now I'm 3 set. Yeah.
With the
I also
yeah.
have a couple. I also have a couple of CFEs. I haven't seen the belt yet, so yeah.
I haven't even seen a ring yet on my arc, so it can
Oh,
it can take a long time. Yeah, or people hit immediately. Yeah, it's very different. I mean, you could be at 8 or 9 set, and someone could start their character, and that person can get to 10 set before you. It's
yeah.
very wide standard deviation for what is the average there. It's really hard to tell. I think about 2 pitch pieces per type per year seems to be like a pretty good number, but like I think the book is way more rare across all of my runs from what I've seen, and the emblem seems more common, but you want to be careful with biased data, right?
Yeah, like I know someone that doesn't have the book yet, that's been playing for like 2 years, and I got it within 6 months, so it's like kind of rough.
Yeah, I get, yeah. I'm on my marksman. I'm still looking for one, and I'm at like right now. I'm in year 4 of hardwell running on that guy.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it can take a while. I think in total I've seen maybe like up to 20 books, but I'm over 1,000 runs, so it's a pretty bad average for me. But there's someone in chat who's seen like 12 books, and he's at he's not even at he's at 400 runs or something. So yeah, it's really hard to say like what's fair there. The only thing you could do is run as many runs as you can, get as much drop rate as possible, and try to give yourself priority, right? And that goes a little bit into if you're funding Mules as well, which we'll probably touch on a little bit, is like, you know, can you get value out of having certain pitches to do like exchange carries and give other characters priority if they're not strong enough to do the solos yet, or, you know, versus going into a pug with like 4, 5, 6 people and then hoping that you win the blink in the 1 in a million times that the drop actually happens and nobody yoinks, you know. That's the other, materializing that gain and pushing that forward into still valuing your or creating value into your account more is definitely a possibility to look into.
Yeah, that's why I run with friends, because you know that wouldn't happen.
That's one thing you want to avoid.
Yeah, just like try not to like go with some random Sun Reboot Central. I mean, not that like, you know, they're not to be trusted or anything, but like, it's just.
But they're not.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah. But yeah, like exactly. It's just less.
If you could choose that, yeah, why take the risk? Yeah. But yeah, that, or I think it's totally fine if you're just trying to get like a chance of an armor box and a chance of like you still need the rings, right? Then it's probably fine, because pitch is just going to be like a little bit of a pipe dream anyway on a full 6-man. Yeah. 14 belts on 270 hard Lucid clears. That's a lot.
Oh my god.
Yeah, if you know enough people, you know one person who's gotten really, really lucky with Eternals. You know one person who went like 0-20, who's like 0-20, right, and they still don't have anything. You know one person who has gotten all of their pitch within a year, and you know someone who's been running for 4 years and has one pitched, and it's like, and it's an emblem, you know. So
yeah,
it's best to not. I mean, you could gather data, right, but it's best to all take it with a grain of salt, because this game doesn't post any base rates and anything like that. But it's good progress in general. You got the source done. So that means that you don't have to worry about Helix and stuff like that anymore, right? All the other 22s are done?
Yeah, I got the source during the last 30%. I know, crazy, right? But yeah, I felt like, you know, my friend got it and I was just like, okay, let me try it. And then I got it. So it was like...
Very nice.
That's great. But yeah, I boomed a few... a few pitches, but that's expected. So going into this 5, 10, 15, I have an eye patch.
Yep. And
which, yeah.
No flame or potential on the trace one?
No, I haven't. I didn't even try.
Yeah. Well, I was just saying I like that, because sometimes you see, you know, traces with like perfect potential and flames on it, and it's like, that's just like a 20 or a 30 bill trace just sitting beside the trace. Yeah.
I feel like that would be a waste, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if there's like if there's like a DMT or like an MMT event and you have it, you know, you might as well like tier it up already, but. And then I guess if you tier it up, maybe you end up with a lucky roll, but that's like a lot of ifs, you know, or you have event. If there's event flames, you don't really have anything to use it on, and you don't really want to use it on like CRA on a boss mule, and you have eternal flames left, and you have a pitch that's not tapped yet, you might as well use it on there, you know, to see if you hit something. That's probably better value for the flame. But it does feel a lot like people have it at 17 or something, and then upgrade it, and then Star Force it further, and then immediately boom it, and now there's that money is just transparently sitting in your inventory.
Yeah.
But yeah, eventually they'll cash in on it. But yeah, you're paying dividends on not getting your upgrades now for getting an upgrade later that you would be able to afford more easily later. So that's suboptimal. Well, it's good that you agree on that in general as well. So yeah, 2 earrings and you have enough for 1 piece, right? So you'll. So I guess for the since the hat didn't go. Yeah, you were thinking doing the top and the bottom and maybe that.
I was thinking about that, yeah, but you also mentioned, I mean, like it's not wrong to just send a hat to 22 or try to, right? So I don't know. So I mean, I feel like that's the kind of route I wanted to go to. I feel like it's just getting a hat to 22, like an arcane hat to 22, and then waiting for 2 pieces. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what happened. That's what happened on my arc. Like the first one went, and then the next event I got 1919. Well, the next event I got 1919, and then 21, and then the 22. Like it all just went in succession. So like 2 events in, I was 2 22s and a 19. But then for my DA, I tried to do the same thing, and I ended up blowing up my hat 3 times, and then doing like, okay, I'll do top and bottom, and then getting another boom before I saw my first 19. I already had 4 booms. So they're they're just the opposite of each other. But I guess, you know, DA being my secondary character, if that one takes all the booms so that my arc can succeed, like I'm good with that, because I'm not pushing for that very last boss always, like, you know, to try to get in there. We're doing C Kalos now, but like I'm not even considering like extreme Kalos or any of that stuff. So but and then if you do hit, that also takes a lot of pressure off of needing to do the next bosses, because, you know, slightly higher chance for grindstones or something like that, you know. And the enhancement for the pitch, like that's really only necessary if you're trying to do the highest of the highest bosses in the strongest, fastest party, right? So it's not as necessary there. But we'll keep that in mind. So okay, trying to hat, I think that's fine. But now we have a little bit more context for the different possible scenarios, right? And once you get to like 4 or 5 booms, then you can like most people probably maybe switch to the other ones, so you can actually equip the pieces instead of just looking at all the transparent shit in your inventory and just, you know, wondering why you're still doing all of this.
Exactly. Oh my god. You tell me. Yeah.
It's very natural response. For boss mules, couple more progress with a goal to turn them into lucid will to see 10 mules. When you say will, what difficulty are you thinking? Do you think it's just hard?
Yeah, eventually, like, I'm so bad with making boss meals. Like, I try to start one, and then I just like, you know, I get distracted and do something else. You know, like I'll train on my main or do something else, and it's just like, yeah. So far, I only have 4 that I play on that I like.
Okay.
I do have an Adele, but she's Adele's not for me. But so far in progress, I have a marksman and a bowmaster. So hopefully in the next few months, I'll get that up and up and running. But yeah, like I need more boss meals for money.
To get that income. Yeah, I mean, if you do grind a lot, if you play a lot, then that's also pretty viable, right? But you start running into scarcity in terms of like how many coupons you can cover with, right? And then your rates start going down quite a bit, and of course the money per time eventually catches up a lot for a boss mule.
Sure.
But if you keep counting like how far you have to fund a character and how many months that'll take you to years sometimes to make that money back, a lot of it will come down to just having a boss mule in a certain scenario for a bit and just gathering a lot of backups. And then whenever an event comes and you have nothing to tap on a main or on a side character, just looking at what boss mule, you know, do you really like, has an opportunity to upgrade because of the amount of backups you have on there, and then just try some upgrades and see if they go. And at this point, a lot of that will come down to, if you really like a character and want to push it, is like starting Liberation on it as soon as possible and trying to get, like I said, like maybe into those pug runs so you can get some special rings. And because, you know, special skill ring plus Liberation that could be like half of your funding almost if you're going up to now if you're looking at the other thing I wanted to say, because you said Lu Will there, one of the main reasons I don't like the terms Lomien or Lu Will is because it kind of like joins them at the hip, and then people kind of get locked in there. When it comes to bossing mule, I feel like it's really good to just see all the bosses separately, because you want to look at time per meso, right? And Will is a really bad time per meso boss, and Princess No is a really bad time per meso boss, but Lucid is a pretty good one. And, you know, a lot of the other bosses like Akachi is a pretty good one, right? You have a little bit of transitions, but you can skip those now. And CPAP is a really good one. Lotus and Damien are pretty good, but Will gets to the point where you can get to that boss pretty quickly, but can you get to killing that boss really quickly, easily? That's kind of like the point. So you almost want to kill, especially for Lucid and Will. I think it's fine to just kill easy Lucid for Yeah.
For the money.
And then maybe easy will even, but you don't really have to, especially if you have a character where you're not even sure if you're really gonna go into Eternals, until you're like, you know, you get the skill rings, maybe you get into Liberation, and now it's like, well, then you make the jump from easy all the way to hard, because now hard becomes, in terms of time, it's almost the same time, you know, because you can just get through the segments as fast, but because Will has so many tests. Not to say that you can't do it or you have to not do it, but always try to look back at like what is the purpose of the character. If you just enjoy bossing on a character and you just want to play it and you want to do the harder difficulties of Will just because that's fun and it helps you progress towards Arcane, that's fine. But don't feel like you have to do it because Lucid and Will are like, you know, they're at around the same level. That doesn't mean that you have to do it. For every single boss, you can always say, this boss and this character just doesn't work well, you know? Like, maybe it's just slower. Maybe it's more of a burst character. Like, if you had a Night Lord, would you want to do hard, like, normal Will on that? As be like, but then you're, like, on the 3-minute cooldown, right? Maybe you just skip that, you know, that boss on that character completely. And if you have a more DPM-y character, you go into Will faster, right? So, just to, for every single character, individually do what works for that and what works for you. And not necessarily just because it's there, you know? Okay. For that, I have my, I don't know how familiar you are with like my stuff and my commands and everything. Have you seen some of that sessions before?
I think so. I've watched quite a bit of your videos.
Okay, yeah. Like, so some things pop up every now and then, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what I do for my characters. So yeah, I have way too many. I'm at 50 now in total bossers. So I've cut out one at a time, like cut out the lower value crystals. And then Pinot, I have a few of them because they still could progress a bit of the rings, but every single time it's a struggle of, do you want to do the bosses because they can progress, or do you need to progress because you want to get to a certain level of funding, right? Because I do want to get to Hard Lucid and Hard Will, but even now, even with Liberation and with skill rings, I still feel like doing Hard Lucid and Hard Will on all of them is just too much because it's too many of them. And I'm good with doing like up to... my main thing was going for Hard Lotus because I wanted to get the damaged black hearts for my account.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my main thing, yeah. Because even my main roster is not just like one character with like a possible second, but I have like 5 characters that I have a lot invested into. And ideally, I'd want them to be able to get black hearts whenever I want one. And because of how shitty the drop rate is,
it is.
I started building out more and more characters until now I think I'm at a good point, and they'll have drop rate where I can upkeep. I've been upkeeping these 2 guys with a heart for... I don't know, actually, probably over 6 months now, and roughly stayed with the same amount of hearts. But I mean, yeah, if these guys start hitting pitches and then be like, oh, you know, they could maybe use one as well. Hopefully, my goal is hopefully one of these hits like a TC by then, so that that takes one off, and then I can just swap them in with another one. But this is definitely a bit overkill. But I feel with 6 job. And Liberation, and then like a decent skill ring, but that doesn't have to be. Like the Hayato is probably the slowest. It does probably around a 9-minute Hard Lotus or something. But yeah, it's not liberated and doesn't have. No, I don't have a skill ring on here at all. So it's more like a. And I don't even have Abzo on there, I think. So there's different levels of funding that you can do, right? Some of these characters I have like I did go for Arcane Weapon, so there's a few different paths. But you wanted to push your characters a little bit narrower and a little bit further. Yeah.
Well,
so
like Lucid eventually. Well.
Yeah.
But so far I'm working on Demon Slayer. I feel like that's because I'm trading, so it'll definitely be a lot quicker to get to that point.
Yeah.
And then I'll move on to Shade probably, or ED.
Yeah, so I have these here. These guys are at doing, like they did Liberation, right? So they can do Hard Lucid and Hard Will, but it's just like a little bit too much to do with everything else. But if I had just these, I probably would Hard Lucid. I don't know if I would Hard Will. Maybe until I have a book and then immediately start doing easy just for the money, you know, just to get out.
Right.
Or normal, because when you're that strong, easy and normal can take almost exactly the same amount of time, even though it's only a little bit extra money. It's still extra money in pretty much the same amount of time. But yeah, normal to hard is a bigger jump. And then they're doing normal Tenebris solo, but pretty fast. So they could also do C10, but again, it's a scaling thing on how many characters you want to build. I think in general, like your brain behind it is probably good, because, you know, with Legion Champion, it seems like building out like 6 or so, like really firmly, and have those be characters that you really like and really want to play on a weekly basis is probably more solid than whatever this mess is. Except, you know, if you want to do the Black Hearts, because with just 6 characters, it's going to be hard to keep up Black Hearts. There's going to be some scalability there. But there's going to be Hyperburns, right? They're going to come out of our ears eventually, I guess, with the, you know, we have the Demon Slayer event coming, with that potentially is going to have another one and an easy leveler. So if you don't want to get those, just, you know, up to 6, they get 6 job pretty much for free, and then see if you can do Hard Lotus. And then you can start doing kind of like a similar thing on, like, you know, do you want to add it? Do you just want to do like 5 bosses on there or so, just to, you know, with the rest of your coupons and your G skills? And then does that take away a little bit of the cheaper crystals, the lower value crystals from your other bosses? And you still have to deal with the max of 14, right? So
right, yeah.
So you will eventually start shifting it down, but
yeah, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we will all start from 0, and this is just there's been a longer process for me, but if you're, it's good to just pick the ones that you enjoy playing. So if you even feel like, and sometimes it's fun, one is fun for a while, and then you get to other bosses, and now suddenly it's not that fun anymore. So if you find it more organically and kind of like slower, it also gives you the out of just kind of like abandoning a character at a certain point or replacing it and not feeling too bad. Whereas if you super hard commit to a character, now you're like locked in for, like I said, like sometimes for 6 months, a year, maybe even longer, before you can earn the value back, right? And then that's kind of what you want to avoid.
Yeah, I just noticed that, like, I prefer 2-minute classes. It's just a lot more engaging than just, like, you know, running around, jumping around, waiting for my.
For boss meals, it feels better. Yeah, I definitely feel a lot of difference, because I have like my Ice Lightning and my Lara have almost the exact same like power, and then for some bosses, you know, the Lara could just do it with one really big burst with a 3-minute burst, and then if it's a bit more DPM-y, then suddenly the Ice Lightning gets out quicker because it's basically a 1-minute burster, and yeah, if you see it as a race, one is overtaking the other and then the other again, but then they end up finishing roughly around the same point. Again, if you have a different set of bosses that just favor DPM a bit more, then one class is going to do a little bit better there. But yeah, I like the 2-minute classes, especially one with self binds and with Erda binds, so you can also, you know, between different phases, like go into binds, especially if you have like a trailing origin, right? You go into Damien or something, and you do it quickly, and then you boost into the other one. But that's another one. Right? Are you going to do Hard Lotus? Or are you going to do Hard Damien? Like, Hard Damien for me is also one where I'm like, I'm cool in just doing normal Damien in like 30 seconds versus doing like an 11-minute Hard Damien or something. You know, if it's the second day and I'm already ahead of my bosses, maybe I'll, you know, feel a little bit fancy. But most of the time, I don't have that. Most of the time, I don't have that much time. So it's more like Damien is one where I'm like, if I really feel like it, or I care about this character's progress and I want to get, you know, chances for the pitches. And then Will specifically is one where you really look at the time. And another one is Slime. Like, if you, even with a very strong character, see Slime, you know, usually by that time I already have a 21 ring and a bunch of backups, or a 22. And then for Sea Slime, I'm just like, just give me normal, just let me burst it in like 15 seconds and just get me out, and I'll do other boss meals in that time, or grind on the main more, you know? Rather than trying to do Sea Slime all the time, or duo Sea Slime with someone, kill it very quickly, and then just alternate backup rings, and just make that a little bit of a longer process in terms of a period of time, but not per session, just, you know, staying locked in for too long. But there's options there, right? If you want to exchange with someone, or you probably have friends with secondary and tertiary and whatever characters who could probably do those bosses.
Yeah, I have a couple that are pretty sweaty, so they do have some, you know, boss meals that can, that they can share.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to ask sometimes. To be like, who has what available?
Yeah,
Who
but
wants to do what? Yeah.
I know, but I'm like not the type to just like, hey, wanna go every
Mhm.
week? But it's all good. It's all good. Slow prog.
Mhm. Well, it goes back
Um,
into the thing, right, where you get value out of having certain pieces already, and then they take a little bit of stronger character, you take a little bit of a weaker character, but then maybe you have an extra chance for a ring box every week, you know? So
mm-hmm,
it's sometimes good to check, like, hey, I kind of want to do this boss. Does anyone have a spot? Yeah, it doesn't hurt to ask, right?
for sure. Yeah. I think the other one was my Hexa and my Prog 2x Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I put down my Hexa all the way to the bottom, but like, I don't know. I think it's kind of bad.
Well,
um,
I'm the king of bad, so I would know.
yeah,
What order did you follow a specific order, or?
I did. I followed the one from the Don't Worry Discord. They have
Mhm.
like, but that's just like for burst party play.
Yeah.
But it's still, it still makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just like recently, I've been farming a lot more. I'm still missing a drop, like in terms of like when training or farming.
Oh, just a line of
Instead
drop
of-
rate, you mean?
Yeah, like instead of it, I spent probably like at this point like 30 bill trying to get another double drop.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so right now I'm like a 180 with a pendant, training.
Yeah, gotcha.
Prepared pendant, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of rough. That at this point I still don't have 200% drop rate on my main. It's like
Yeah, and in the grand scheme of things, it's not like a huge thing,
it's
but
bad.
it's
Yeah.
if you have it done, then it's just done kind of forever, and then you don't have to worry about it ever again. So you feel like, oh, let me just get that out of the way, and then every single session you don't hit, you're like, now it's getting annoying.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, and
It's
like
understandable.
I don't make a lot like other people, so it's like
Yeah. If you're 8 to 10
I don't
bill,
have enough.
then
I don't have
it's
enough resources, to kind of just dump everything, buy like so many cubes and just try to get it.
Does your set also have like are you in the stage with like full meso and drop set that you have the meso as well?
Yeah, I got the meso. It's
'Cause I saw
just
some hybrids, I
180.
think.
I'm
Yeah.
like a 180 drop with a pendant. So it's like
Yeah.
kind of rough, especially now that you're training in like Arteria. It's like, I mean, I'll get there eventually. I'll get it.
Do you have the greed pendant for your drop rate set?
I never got it.
Okay.
But I have another, like for just drop. I have another pendant, or somewhere.
Yeah.
Did I not attach it?
Maybe it's in your inventory here.
Yeah.
If you have but maybe in your preset, it's stuck in there probably, right? Oh, you have the horntail pendant maybe?
Probably. Oh, let me see. Yeah, I have another Mechanator with a drop.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know how effective it is, but usually advise to, like, for that one spare little pendant that's just for the box, to make that a greed pendant, because that has equipment drop rate as well, which, again, it's not 100% sure how and what and if, but if it does work as advertised, it should be an extra 20% drop rate, but only for equips, so it should work on pitches and, kind of treasure rings, slime rings, that kind of thing.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And if it's just one line of drop, that could be pretty cheap to make, but it's more, again, it's one of those, in case it does work as advertised, but who knows for sure ever. So like just in case kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you hit that double drop. I guess now, because the event's coming up, you're like easing off of that a little bit, so you can make some gains for star forcing and then want to go back to it, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to spend on my character. I guess if I do go with the hat, then I would probably spend most of what I have on that, unless it booms right away. But yeah, but otherwise it's gonna go on the Mules, my Demon Slayer. Trying to get that a little bit stronger for faster boss trades.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Not the eye patch, or
yeah, the eye patch and
what you have now. You have a
I have like a one eternal that I can Star Force on.
Oh, you have 22 pet mark, yeah. So you can go pretty.
I know.
All or nothing on that.
Yeah. My friend was just like, "Do you want to do Commercy?" And I said no. And he's like, "Okay, well, just Star Force this," and I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
And then it went, and now I'm like, "Screw Commercy."
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could just skip that whole thing. I like Commercy for the early tattoo before you get Twilight marks. I think that's where the most of the value is now.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still do it on a couple of characters that I have, or boss units that I have, but like, yeah, it was just a lot at the time, like doing multiple dailies and just having to add that on another.
Yeah, we're talking about that on stream. Is the cool part about having a little extra power creep that no other region has, because we get all the overseas content right from other regions, is that that does give us an edge, but the or more options. But the downside is that you're getting locked into so many tasks in the game to be able to, you've got the Threads of Fate, and you got Commercy, and you've got Helix, and there's so much value to be gotten, but you get, I mean, I was using the word, you get inundated with with just dailies and weekly tasks, where it's like,
and then
like
and
occupational
then
therapy, right? There's nothing else
and
to
then
do
doing
anymore.
that on multiple.
And then scaling that, and that's why I was saying before, like, you maybe just not do some bosses on some characters. When it comes to the progression, is like, if a character hits a few kind of treasure rings, boom. If another character doesn't, at some point, just make a few Meisters there and then skip that, so you can also start skipping Pinot, right? And or one character gets a Black Bee mark and it goes and gets a Twilight mark to 17 and be like, okay, I don't need Commercy anymore. And another character doesn't get any of those drops. Okay, maybe you do Commercy there, so you can at least get like a 17 tattoo, or maybe walk that up to 19 if you just don't get any Twilight marks. Then you still have something in that set that is roughly the equivalent. So to every character as their needs go, basically, just to kind of complement the RNG. So you were saying the Hexa part is mainly the fact that it looks like this is mainly because that one line of drop. That's what you're blaming it on.
No, not really. just like, I mean, if I got that, one line of drop, I feel like it's just faster.
Yeah, we'll all be maxed by now, right? Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like,
you get the extra mastery.
but yeah, like my goal is for this character right now is to get to 285 and eventually do X Lotus, or even before the event. If not, I'll wait until third or fourth masteries. Makes it a little bit easier.
And since your Solianis is 12, are you working on that now to get that to 20?
I was working on it, and then I'm like, maybe I should focus on other things.
Yeah.
To if my goals shifted. It was just like get to 285 and just work on my boss meals, and now I'm like, hey, well, maybe I could do X Lotus in the next couple of months, maybe 3 months. Yeah.
Because very much
shifted.
Yeah, because when you're looking at a boss wheel, like, what do I fund it towards, right? Like, what set of equips am I going to need? Am I just going to do Abso? Am I going to do High Star Force Abso? Am I going to do Arcanes? Am I just going to sit on an Arcane weapon and just let everything else come evenly? And then when it does, I'll move from normal to hard to Nebris, something like that. Am I going to start Liberation? In the same way, you want to look at Solianis as well, because it's like, well, if you're going to get to 285 and you're probably going to sit there forever, it's definitely not worth spending all of your fragments from like 280 to 283 at Solianis, so that you can just sit there for the last 2 levels. Whereas if you just take all of the fragments from those 5 levels and put them all into your damaging skills, well, now you're more likely to be able to do everything you would want to do at 285, right? So I would always look at, if you're planning to go to the next set of 5 levels after the one you're already in, then I'll probably get Solianis up to the next bracket, with the exception of like if you're gonna go, if you're planning to go past 290 or something, you probably want to go towards level 30 Solianis, but then I probably just rush to 20, get everything else done, and then circle back and get it to 30. That's usually my advice. So, but I just wanted to see like what your thought was on that, because when you see that at 12 and then the mastery is also at 11 and 21 and 13 on the origin, I just want to make sure that you have your plan for that and you're not just kind of leveling things around, especially with Solianis, because it's so diametrically opposed, right? It's either mobbing or bossing. Like you really have to choose with Solianis. So you don't really have the ambition to go very far past 285, at least not at this point. So that's why you're
not
leaving that one. Yeah. Okay.
It really depends if I still like Dawn Warrior at that time.
It could be that the boss is just really frustrating, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like there's just a lot of things, but right now it's just like I don't want to talk about meta, but like I feel like meta is 2-minute classes, but. Yeah, I mean, I love.
You want your party to be like the same timers. I think that's the main thing. If your whole party is 3-minute or whole party is 2-minute, that's beneficial for everyone. If there's 2 minutes and 3 minutes together, then usually 2 minutes have to like holding their burst, and you just lose a lot of damage. The main reason why the 2-minute meta is coming up more is because of Lin and because of smaller parties, right? That gives a whole lot of damage to smaller parties. So, and if you were a 3-minute class, you were to do it with a Lin, then the Lin would lose damage and your whole party would lose like capacity because now you're bursting on 3-minute, and that would be a little bit weird, yeah. So that's why that's working now, but that's also, so that's general shift towards like the size of the parties. But if the party size changes again and they start like, maybe they say like, okay, we're going from 3 to 6 party size again, just to help people accelerate and faster parties, all that stuff, then a lot of that might shift again. Or if they say like we're going to nerf Lin quite a bit, that might also do a big shift, because remember Lin and also by extension Hayato and Kana have not gotten their last big changes yet, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that's still a little bit up in the air. I think personally they're probably going to wait until the masteries come out and see how they perform after that, and then maybe make adjustments, because I hope that they're really just looking at GMS data and making changes based on that rather than just copying something from a different region, because that's just kind of weird, like why give us balance of another region that does things differently, it has different meta, because it's specifically heroic, and we're the only region that has it now, so we need our own balance for that. So Dawn Warrior is you're not like in love as much anymore with Dawn Warrior, but you're hoping that it'll stay fun, kind of thing. Or am I misreading that a bit?
No, yeah, I mean, like, exactly. I mean, like, I'm enjoying Demon Slayer, enjoying Angelic Buster. I mean, it's always good to enjoy multiple, classes. But yeah, but then I'm, like, already kind of invested in Dawn Warrior, and it's...
A little bit, yeah. 281.
Yeah. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. I
definitely
do like it. Yeah, I don't hate it, like,
but it felt more front loaded, right? Like you get like as soon as you get your 5th and your 6th, it's like immediately really, really strong. But then it's like, where do you go from there, But yeah. Let's say in KMS in a few months they give everyone like an extra 6-job skill, right? And then you could be right back on top with one update. It is like that. Maybe it ties back your kit and it synergizes with everything. Maybe like a very strong 90-second damaging skill or something, right? So when you're bossing, you also don't have to worry too much about using like a third of your burst or half of your burst to get through the bosses, but you can use that to just nuke a boss, the weaker bosses in between. And that could bring a whole bunch of enjoyment back as well. So yeah, there's so many possibilities. That's why I always say try to play something that you are enjoying, because that's going to be for the that's for the length, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. And
right, yeah.
If you're picking something because it's on top, then the next update it could be not on top anymore, and now the reason that you picked it is gone, and then that's your motivation sometimes out the window as well. And if you're enjoying logging in and you're enjoying the dailies and the weeklies on it, and you're enjoying just the process, then you're way less likely for some kind of balance change to mess you up, unless they do a rework and it somehow they completely change how your class works, but I think they're trying to minimize that as much as possible.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, as far as this character, I think that's the main goal for it, Ex Lotus.
Yeah, have you lined up like a party
yeah.
or like a duo partner to kind of like motivate each other to keep going for those levels and everything?
Yeah, I do have a few that I've asked, and then they're like, get to 285, and then we'll talk. But
Damn, okay.
Because like considering my Hexa is kind of like, you know, kind of weak. But yeah.
I mean, you can get a lot done in 4 levels in the 280s. That's a lot of fragments. You can your masteries and your origin. Origin to 20 is a big one. That gives a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's just kind of expensive. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I will get. I'll get enough on the way to 285 leveling, right? So.
Yep. No, for sure. Especially if you get that last line of drop rate, then it's just free,
Oh, I feel like another 30 bill coming through.
Oh, I hope not. Yeah. I've been making some double drop and stuff as well. And I've been getting pretty lucky. Like I got one on the 3rd pack. I think I got mine. And on my Adele, I made 2 of them in the first 20 cubes. So I've got 7 years of bad luck coming my way. I think I'm gonna be paying for that somehow. Star Forcing this Sunday is probably gonna go tremendously again, but it is what it is. It's karma coming back.
But yeah, I mean, like in terms of Star Forcing, I feel like we have generally been, having a lot of Star Forcing, like almost every other month. So it's like not as daunting, having to wait, But it also gives us time to like save up.
Yeah, I like that the events are so common, but that there's also a decent amount of time between, because that just gives you time to get backups and to get money. And then when you see an event coming, you can save for it specifically and like wean off the cubing for a little bit, and then be like, okay, how many backups do I have? How many what is a realistic project, and then see if you can actually make it. And if you can't, cool, next event then. You don't have to worry about it. Like there will be another one. And for me, especially, it's also kind of freeing that I don't have to worry too much about 30% off events, just because most of my project is going to be safeguarding stuff. So I just prefer the 5, 10, 15. So I just skip the 30% offs or do a little bit on like a side mule or something, but then just focus on other stuff that day to get more backups, to do more bosses. And then 5, 10, 15s go really hard, basically.
Would you, like, for boss meals, would you buy Arcane? Would you spend your droplets?
Yeah, so one of the things I did was I would go for like 20-star Abzo. So I made one like full 20-star Abzo, including the weapon. I walked that back pretty quickly because the 20-star Abzo weapon is trash. Base stats for Abzo are so horrible. So like to compare it, I think you gain like 4 magic attack on a 20-star Abzo with like a tier 6 flame versus a clean tier 6 arcane with no Star Force. So it's like, yeah, that's just such a waste. So if you're gonna make the Abzo set, you might as well just make it a 17-star Abzo weapon. That those extra like 3 stars or like 4 transfer down into 3 are not giving you access to anything significantly, but it does give you access to Hard Lotus, Hard Loose and Hard Will pretty easily, and then you can earn your own weapon. So that was like my first phase, and then my second phase, and now the third phase, which I'm doing for some characters, is not pushing that far, but pushing towards a Hard Lotus under 10 minutes, and basically just at that point just buying an arcane weapon pretty quickly, or running duo for like like a month to like 6 weeks or so, and see if I get a box. And if I by the time I have enough to buy a weapon, if I don't have a box, then I buy one, and if I get one earlier, boom, and I switch to another character. And then basically just do the arcane weapon, and then start from there, and then see how much more funding the character really needs. Because then maybe you get a slime ring, and maybe you can get a 19 slime ring out of it, or maybe you can get a kind of treasuring to 21, and all of your CRA goes to 21, and then maybe I don't even need Abzo. Like right now I'm getting Abzo boxes from doing Hard Lotus, but I'm wearing Tyrant Glove, Tyrant Shoe, sorry, not Glove, Tyrant Cape and Tyrant Shoe, and then I got an arcane armor box, so that has an arcane glove, and then the other one is just wearing, I don't know, like sickness gloves or something with like a good flame. Again, as long as they can do what they're designed to do in a time that's manageable for you, then well, that was a lot of rhyming. Then they're good, right? So try to not overfund, but some characters will need more than others, and there's never like this perfect frame of you need to spend 62 bill per character to do these bosses, boom, because you have variance in star forcing outcomes, you have variance in where characters peak and what bosses they're good at, and some at a certain point can be very, very efficient. You know, if you just want to do CRA and hard Magnus, you can probably get a Demon Slayer in there with like 50 nodes or something and nothing else, and they can probably do that super fast, right? But then certain other classes are like, I mean, if you got to do that on a Blaze Wizard or something, it's probably going to be a lot rougher. But then, yeah, because they're more DPM oriented, but then in another position they might be better. But those are kind of like the options. Like I do like the 20 Abzos, but in a lot of situations now I think it's overkill. It's almost better to just get from 260 to 265 instead and get some fragments in. That's so much damage as well, and it's quote unquote free. It actually brings you money almost rather than it costs you money. So if you're willing to spend that time doing that, if you're more of a grinder, I'm not that much of a grinder. Like I don't really like training that much, so I'm okay spending some extra money and getting a little bit over geared and then doing it that way. But the balance towards getting a little bit of fragments in there is probably better in terms of how much you gain damage wise from that. Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, arcane weapon is good value. Yeah, it's expensive. It was like 11 bill up front, but
yeah,
the base stats on it are just so good. So even a 17 star with like 2 line, 2.5 flying useful, and just a tier 6 attack or magic attack is super solid.
Yeah, just contemplating on buying them for my boss meals. Whereas like some people are just like telling me, just save it as like a reserve, you know, if you're, you know, gonna pick it up to like 22 or further, right? Or 17 to 22.
Like as backups or?
Yeah, as backups, you know, if you can try to. Because I do have quite a bit of
That'd be for armors, you mean, right?
Armors, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Not not the.
Yeah, because even I mean, my main, I had like 21. I never went 22 on arcane weapons, but I had like 21 back in the day when it took like super long to lib, and then the other ones eventually got to 21 weapon because I would have like, you know, I have a 17 star weapon. I'd be like, I have 7 backups, and it's event is like, well, I might as well try for 19. It's like, I went to 19. I still have 7 backups. So fuck it, I might as well try for 21. You know, it's free damage. But then when you lib, it's almost kind of disappointing because you don't gain that much damage, and it's like shit. But now it's that was all before 6 job, and now with 6 job is like going past 17 weapon is already like, why would you ever really consider that? It's like so risky. Again, if you have like 5 backups sitting, maybe you tap to 19 or something, but even then, is it really necessary, or is it just a thing that's kind of like tempted because you can? Again, just a few levels and the fragments, that's going to be so much more power creep than risking any of those drops sometimes. I like buying the weapons. I think it's good upfront damage to know for sure that you're like committing to that character.
It's not good for investment, yeah.
It's very solid. It's super solid investment because unless you're already like on the lib train, and you're already like month 4, month 5, and you're doing fine with Abso, then yeah. But even the arcane weapon, just a 17, also allows you to just do the whole liberation process with it with not too many problems. And for you now, like, you know, 11 bill, that's like more than a whole week's worth of your money. But if you think about it, like this week, I'm just investing into getting an arcane weapon on a mule, and then that's, you know, and that's what the money this week goes to. That's not super crazy, you know. In a month, that means you can get 4 of them done or so, or 3, you know, if you're a little bit lower on the money end. But your income should, you know, should follow then. Yeah. Because that's something, once you start making more money, you almost start looking at, like, you kind of want to stop looking at how much it is, because the numbers will seem the same size, even though you're making more money. And you kind of want to look at, like, this is how many weeks or how many days worth of money it is instead, to keep things in context, basically.
Mhm.
If you make some ridiculous amount of mesos, like how much am I making here? Oh, I mean, it's like a 55
Yeah.
bill a week on crystals. You know,
Jesus.
something costs 100 bills. Like, oh my shit, God, that's crazy. It's like, well, that's 2 weeks of bossing. That's not actually.
55, I think that's the most I've heard of. I know people make 30,
Mm-hmm.
40.
Yeah,
Damn,
that sounds a lot
55.
healthier. Yeah. Like my marksman just
Um,
made, I think my marksman just made like 6.5 bill today just on his bosses. Yeah, these numbers are
Dang.
kind of crazy,
Mhm.
but it takes a lot of time. And
Oh, for sure, yeah.
I sometimes people ask like, how much did you invest in this character? It's like, I don't know. I'm glad I don't know, because that number would probably depress me if I saw that. On like only a year and a half left to go until you make that money back. That's why it's just on characters that I enjoy, because you're not doing it just for, you know, the reciprocal value of the boss crystals. That's just one of the things.
Mhm. I think the other question that I had, I guess it's related to familiars. I have
Oh yeah, here on
one,
the bottom right. Yeah.
yeah, boss familiar.
Mm-hmm.
That took that was quite a bit of farming.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it was
like,
an
but I
epic
mean, I did
too,
it.
not even the unique. Yeah.
I did it on my one of my hyper burns, my demon slayer, which was less painful.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. Yeah.
yeah, I mean with the farming on demon
Mm-hmm.
slayer,
Falling
but
asleep on your keyboard. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it's just so long and tedious, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, if, and
Yeah. They
like
need to
with the recent
reduce the system.
patch, I guess the update from Inkwell, it's just still like, you know, we still gotta wait what they're gonna do with familiars. But right now, it's just like,
Yeah.
how much time do I spend on familiars? Do I even have time? It's
Yeah.
just
I
like,
think up to 285, it's like a time for yeah, just how much is your time worth, right? The main thing is, I know a friend of mine from the chat, what he did is just like he grinded up to 285 just to get the fragments in, to get the level diff in for Extreme Lotus and all that. And then at 285, he's like, I don't really have any desire to do anything past this, but this is my character that has the most drop rate, and that could still make fragments on and prepare for the next masteries and everything. So I'm just going to familiar farm on the main, and then every single EXP I get is a win, but I'm not trying to level. But the main thing is just trying to get fragments and familiars. Like that's the main, and then some money and some EXP. And I think as long as you have that goal where you're not really trying to hit any next, 5 at the end or 0 at the end level jump that you're going for, then I think that takes a lot of pressure off of needing to be in the highest level area and needing to kill every single monster in the map. But it's more like you're just padding the fragments a little bit or working for the next one, and you're mainly there to just familiar farm. And I think after 285 is probably a good idea for you to circle back to that, because then you're really going to be in full on pitch and eternal waiting room anyway. And then whenever there's a new update or there's friends who are like, hey, come on, we're gonna try to get to Baldrix, let's go to 290, but that's such a big jump, or the EXP curve changes or something in your life changes, then you can always circle back. But I mean, yeah, it sucks that it's a 20 boss and not a 30, but it's on an epic, and critical damage plus large drop is actually pretty nice. That can be helpful in some situations. But yeah, it's a tedious system. And again, here also the standard deviation of like the average of how long do you have to do. There was someone in chat who made, I think they said they made 12 uniques and they got 40%. So they got 120 boss out of 12 total uniques. And I'm like, I absolutely hate you, but congratulations.
right.
And be careful. Be careful when you're walking across bridges, because you might slip. Because that's like karma for the rest of your life. Is like chasing you down to pianos falling on top of your head, kind of levels of bad luck coming your way. Because there's people who've made like 200 uniques and haven't seen a single liner drop yet on any of the epics or the uniques. So yeah, there's one guy just taking all the luck for like the next 50 people. And I haven't made that many, but I've only gotten one boss damage, and it's not even from a. It was on an epic, but not even like this. It was from a booster pack epic, like a boss booster pack that got me my 30%. That's my only boss that I have on the Demon Avenger. So it's like, yeah, do you open more booster packs then? Like, what's the lesson you're supposed to learn from that?
I know.
Yeah. So but now I'm working more with the Legion Burning, because building up the whole 6, I'm working on grinding a little bit more on those lower guys, and just first I was opening a bunch of booster packs, but now I'm like, it's probably a good idea to try to get large drop first, but you got it from unique, but typically best to get large drop from epic, right? On average, better costs on any character that you care about for the long term, just to get more backups as soon as possible, and more ring boxes and armor boxes are not affected, or weapon boxes, but pitches, right? And trying to get those in on any character that's training, and then otherwise just saving up all the familiars for when training on a character where I care about the boss damage. But yeah, probably after 285, that's probably fine. If you want to do it on this character, that'll be fine. If another character has drop rate and you kind of want to bring them up for Legion Champion as well, then that works as well. And then I probably prioritize getting a large drop on them, and then once they have that, just hold on to all the familiars and then use them again on your main, just while you're doing symbol dailies there or something like that. Just slowly level them up so you get one unique every few days. Or bro, the last the last one, I failed 5 rare to epics in a row.
Oh god.
Punch my monitor. Yeah, it's 0.032% chance of that happening. Like, why?
Wow.
What did I do to deserve that? But okay.
Yeah, it makes you not want to farm.
And I don't really need the odds to be better or anything for this necessarily, because it is a lot of damage, but the whole system just needs some kind of overhaul. Like, first of all, people need to get more than 100 slots, because if you need 100 power in, like, that's just a small thing. They need to be part of presets. They need to unlock all the presets. Those are like just small quality of life things. It's not like we just want more things, but it's just this system is like this. It's salvageable, but that's not how. Maybe increase the rates a little bit on like epic to unique or something like that, and in some kind of way, or just I think they should just straight up sell like the blue cards in the shop like they did. But
yeah,
if you make it around the average cost as it is now, but you just put the cards in there, an unlimited amount, the whole system would already get so much more streamlined, because you could just and have more slots. You just double click all the cards, extract them all, buy blue cards, and just roll, and then it's so much cleaner. You don't have to like every single time be like, oh, switch to familiars every 15 to 20 minutes when you kill enough monsters. Make sure that you lock them so you don't accidentally extract them. And then, oh, you can't actually fuse them while you're training, because every single time you attack a monster, your selected familiars deselect again. And it's like, oh god. Like, every single thing within the system has like 3 things that are just so annoying about it. And it's like, this can be cleaned up like so easily without really fundamentally having to change how much of a power creep it is, unless they want to. And then of course, enabling more familiars in more areas, so you don't have to choose as much between, am I going to get fragments and familiars and a little bit of money and EXP, or am I going to get EXP and fragments and a little bit of money and no familiars? That's still that's a difficult question to, but hopefully you got an answer now for that, for you, or your options at least.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the least of my priorities. But it's always like
because you won't hit anyway, right? It doesn't feel like you're giving up much.
Exactly, and then until like you see people like, oh, someone posts in the Flex channel or whatever, like I got 30%. It's like, maybe I should be doing that too, but I'm like, oh, nah, I got my own. You're like, goal.
That's a whole WSE line,
I know, and it's just like kind of like, and then you get baited into like farming for 2-3 hours, and then with nothing, right? So it's like,
so you have on the in my familiar guide, there's like a link to familiar. Oh, that's a hard word. Somebody like on Reddit had like the numbers on the average cost, right? Of hitting something. So then you can kind of make a guesstimation on like how many hours is it. The fuck? I didn't know they could do that. how many hours will it roughly cost me to get that many?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also see, well, in that many hours, how many fragments would you be getting on the main character specifically, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then how much damage do you get pretty much guaranteed from that versus how much are you probably going to get? And that's why just grinding out and getting the levels to, you know, minimize the level difference penalty and to get access to new content for new gear. And then at the same time, the pseudo guaranteed damage increase from fragments is just now a much better idea than familiars, until you get to the point where that EXP part and that level difference part kind of gets taken out of the equation, and your fragments are maybe entering the more, you know, inefficient areas where you've gotten the brunt of the gains, and now you're kind of just like min-maxing things because you can, but not necessarily because it gives you a lot of damage. Then familiars become a lot more valuable relatively.
Mm-hmm.
You can see here just any boss hitting, you know, stopping at epic 76,000, so you need 50,000 points. This is what, like 10 for a rare and 15 for a rare, 10 for a common, right? So that's like 5. I don't know. You have like 1 to 6, so 700. What is it? 700 rares? No, 1,000. Whatever the number is, that's a lot of hours, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, and you can hit on your first or your second, and some people don't hit on 200. It's just, yeah.
Yo, someone just posted 40% drop.
What is that? Double 40 boss on
What the
unique.
fuck?
I've never seen that before. That is nasty.
Disgusting. This is some AI shit.
Yeah, I'd block out my name as well if that was mine. Jesus, the amount of hate you would get.
This is disgusting. Whoever.
I've seen
Ew.
the biggest one I saw before this was a 50 boss large drop Princess No legendary. That was pretty bad, pretty disgusting as well.
This is nasty.
Yeah, but if you have this, like, does that give you more motivation to get more boss so that you can hit that 120, or does it give you less? Because like this guy has, see, it has a 180 and then 220%.
Yeah. I mean, but still, it's, you know, it's 120, right?
But then if you're looking for 20% boss, then you just make. Yeah, see, then if you just do epics, then it'll be easier again. Because then it's like really close again if you want any boss damage.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't have to worry about uniques and all the failure rate and everything. God, that is nasty. I wish I'd never seen that. Why did you send that to me, Alex?
Why
Why
did I click that?
My eyes!
I was trying to like look up what you were looking at.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I was
sorry.
like, I was reading something else. I think it was that I was reading that one. Yeah. And then you were looking at the one on Reddit, and then I was just like, what is he looking at? And then I clicked that one and just saw that picture, and I'm like.
And our day is ruined. Thank you, Alex. People evil.
But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I did that 285 and then decide, you know, depending on what you're doing with your Legion account and everything, whether you want to go back on your main or run out some more Hexa, or if it's more a side character that you want to bring up at that point to get... Because you've seen the Legion champion stuff a little bit, right? Or not,
like,
in Korea, what they're doing.
Oh yeah. I mean, Dawn Warrior hasn't changed much from what I've seen. They say that it does get a little bit stronger, but you know, I'm not.
Sorry, I meant specifically like for Legion champion. So like the extra system.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
The
The buff.
and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Because then having like 2 to 3 really strong characters will help with extra buffing, right? Kind of like a mini event buffs, like passively, and then the actual skill that you can buy. So that might give you more value on just getting a little bit of fragments built up on a second and a third character as well. But
exactly.
You don't want to do that too early, because then you're stealing your Dawn Warrior's progress.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing. That's why I'm like, okay, you get to 285 and then work on... I'm working on Demon Slayer, and then potentially either Shade or AB.
Sure.
Maybe AB because she's already got the weapon, but like
Oh,
an
yeah.
arcane weapon.
Yep.
But what do you call it? Yeah, it's just like working on those two characters. It's still a little bit, you know.
Just
And I'm
work
still
on both
doing
of them
dailies
at the
on
same
them.
time, you mean?
Yeah,
Bit
still doing
much.
dailies on like on the 4 meals that I have. So it's like
It's like arcane dailies
yeah,
and Cernium dailies and
I love yeah, Surname. It is quite a bit. I mean,
yeah.
it's not hard, but
No,
you're logging
it's just a
on.
lot.
It's just a lot. You're logging in on 5 characters, and some days you don't want to do dailies.
Yeah. Well, that's a
So,
good
I
thing.
mean,
If your baseline is you do them all the time, then you can also sometimes just blow them off. But if your baseline is like you barely do them, and then you also sometimes don't feel like doing them, then you're gonna have to like fight yourself and actually do them. Otherwise, you might as well just never do them because you're multiplying the time that it takes you to get them done by like 2. But if you if you go from like I'm doing it twice a week to doing them once a week, now it takes you twice as long. But if you're going from I'm doing them 7 times a week to doing them 6 times a week, well, now it takes like 15% longer. Like now it's not so crazy to miss a day, So sometimes you can cut yourself some slack and just be like, fuck it,
Yeah, but then I feel like once I'm cutting myself some slack, then I'm like,
Just make sure you do the weeklies, right? Because the weeklies are
the weeklies
if
are pretty important.
If I remember in KMS, the weeklies are going up even more. I think to 75 symbols. If I remember correctly, per week. So.
Okay, well that's something to look forward to.
Yeah,
next
just
event, I guess.
cut the whole maxing time.
A lot of
even
things
more.
to look forward to, I guess, to the next event, especially the what is that? One button to press all your buffs.
Yeah. The quick cast or what they call it. Yeah.
Yeah, honestly,
Instant buff.
Give that to me right now. Like I will. I already know. Well, I shouldn't complain, but like Dawn Warrior is already like brain dead as it is. So it's gonna be even more brain dead once you have that one button.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're just clearly. I already said like they need to make the decent skills passive because it's like there's too many and you have too many keys and everything. And then they did that like the update later in KMS. I'm like okay, and then they do the quick cast thing and I'm like they're excuse me. Like they're really just clearing out the keyboard so they can start adding new skills and people actually have buttons to put them on. Because right now there's 3 skills available here in the bottom right and 5 in the top left. And these are all passives already. So these are probably not going to be passives. These are probably all going to be actives. But where the hell are you going to put all of those? So they have to offload some like or it's either that or like make your pets like be able to auto buff like 4 or make one a buffing pet for burst and then 2 others have like 4 pass. It would be a whole shit show, right? So they kind of it makes sense that they're doing it this way. And if you're min-maxing on a culvert and something, you're still gonna have to play it differently. But with that is also coming if I remember correctly, the chance to copy a keyboard setting into another like preset, and then you can just alter it from your current instead of building it from scratch. And I think that's also to make sure that you can save one right now to do your culvert like you used to, and then have a simplified setup where you just press one button and everything goes for more of the party bossing and or maybe solo bossing, but like in different scenarios. That's probably or buff sequence. Yeah, I think either buff sequence, instacast. People are probably going to call it a bunch of different things until some name kind of sticks. Buff sequence makes sense, but it's almost like you're just giving a literal description of what it is rather than it's not quite as catchy. I don't know if people are gonna call it buff sequence. I mean, it abbreviates to BS. I don't know. That's not a great one. So maybe, just call it BS. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Ginger immediately saw it as well. Like, there's an opportunity
the BS
here.
skill.
Yeah, it's like full buff cast or like instant cast or something like that. I think is gonna probably. I like instant cast where it's just like button. You saw how fast it was, right, in the video?
Oh yeah.
Vroom. Oh, it's a dream. My mom playing with her ancient hands. She's gonna love that.
It's just like I hate missing a buff because of
Oh yeah. Oh, you hate that. Oh, I love that. Like you're holding a key down and then you look at the bottom right. You're like, oh, what is that? The most important buff.
I never clicked. Or after your exactly after your burst. And
I was like, what is that? 4,000 weapon attack buff that is like still unclicked. Oh god.
It's just I feel like it's just the animation lock, like
Yeah.
It would have been better if it was just like, yeah, I press it and it just instantly goes. But like,
Or for some, you still have to be on the ground, and for some, you could just press it whenever, and then some have like
yeah,
animation, like lag at the end that's just 5 times as long as every other skill for no fucking reason. Just give me the button, give me the
yeah.
buffs, let me move
Mhm.
on. Yeah. Yes, please.
Um,
Looking forward to it.
but yeah, I think. Let's see what
Unaccepted
else.
for yeah, I can look
Yeah,
specifically
I'm sorry.
through the pictures to see if we missed anything.
Yeah,
How's your interoperability? That's usually one that gets maybe sometimes a little bit overlooked. That one, it looked pretty
I
good
think
from what
I'm.
I saw, right? Buff
Yeah,
duration.
I think it's kind of perfect. I think I don't know. Yeah,
Kind of perfect.
I
Slightly
don't know. I don't.
optimal.
Slightly optimal. Yeah. I mean, if I like, according to the Don't Worry Discord.
Okay,
It's
yeah, no,
pretty
you could
good.
then, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you get the Meso drop, the normal monsters, yeah.
SL needs like work. Yeah, but for bossing, it's. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, that looks really good, yeah. I guess the only other thing you could possibly get would be cooldown skip wouldn't work for you, 21 attack, but then at that point you'd rather have just the longer duration of terms and conditions for your 40-second burst, right?
It doesn't really. I don't think it really matters because like I line it up with my what is it that Cosmo one? That what was that
Mhm.
skill? I don't even know the skill. Yeah, Cosmos, which is 90 seconds.
Yeah.
So like every 90 seconds I have a burst.
Yeah,
Yeah,
gotcha.
with terms and condition. But other than that, it's like I don't really use it. I don't think it's. I don't know if the buff duration actually even is worth for me. I don't know.
Well, the only other thing would be 21 attack, but I think because your full-on burst lasts 40 seconds,
Mhm.
you should probably gain about 4 seconds or so, 3.5 to 4 seconds of terms and conditions. So that's 60% damage for your whole burst going on. So that's probably why that's the best. Because if you need an attack speed +1 or something, then the whole thing would start like moving around, right? Or if you had anything that you could cooldown skip, that would be significant. But I don't think you have anything off the top of my head.
No.
So that basically takes everything else except for weapon attack off the table. And the further we go, the less weapon attack. One specific line of weapon attack is going to be scaling, because at this point where you have like 5,700 attack. If that goes up by 20, even with the multiplications, that goes up by like 40. So that's that'd be like 1/14. So it'd be like of your total attack. Oh. Or no, 1/100th. Wait, 45, 21, 45, 130th. So it'd be like Jesus Christ, 0.7 FD or something. Yeah, but like 60% damage during your full burst for an extra 4 seconds. That'll affect it way more because you're so burst heavy, right? And your DPM is not that crazy. You got like the 90-second and the 180.
The one,
You'll
yeah.
have it, yeah. Okay, you got the buffs going. No bonus coins for you. Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, you're working on the other guys, so you still got the Arcane River. Got all the big EXP. Monster Park levels. Backups looking healthy. Yeah, you're starting to look at some... I guess there's some things you can soon start getting rid of because you've hit those 22s, and then you can get something like this going, where you're working on backups for 23s, and it's like just slime rings and Daybreak pendants as far as the eye can see. Just
I know. I've been giving them away, but
yeah.
What do you call it? But yeah, like eventually. I don't think I'm there yet.
No, but when you are there, you want to have them ready, right?
Like
you don't want to like start gathering them. It's like, okay, now I want 40 rings, and then you have like 6 of them. Like that's not. But if you're helping your friends out, of course, that's that. I'm not saying yoink that shit, but
it's probably really helping. But it's like big boss trading, which is fine.
Yeah. If you give them one and they help you get one, then that's totally okay, of course. The earrings, the Stella earrings, I think at this point are just kind of memes. I mean, they were for a while there. I think they were decent if you needed very strong drop rate gear, but because of how strong 6-shop is and how much that's just pulling everyone up, I feel like you never really need high Star Force Stella earrings at all anymore, and they're just. I feel like they're just like a fake money sink, honestly, at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought they
And
were in the beginning, but especially with like particle attackers, right? If you're like a Night Lord, Night Walker, and you needed specifically the extra damage to be able to 2-shot or 3-shot. And it's like Solianas and then just the base damage of 6 job that have basically made all of that obsolete, essentially. Especially if you're a little bit slower leveler, then by the time you get the extra 5 levels for the new area, you're already more than strong enough, right? You already have the arcane power necessary. Sorry, the sacred power necessary, and you have the gear there. Yeah, they're just kind of sitting there. Secondary. Double prem on the lib. Just attack, but also a lot of strength. Yeah, that's like a, flame score calculator thing situation, basically. If you ever want to go over that.
I did that. Yeah, I kind of try to follow the better option, but I haven't seen anything recently. I haven't touched the secondary or the emblem in a while, but I wasn't sure when to actually start re-rolling. It feels so expensive.
Yeah,
trying to get reline.
Yeah, the emblem should be about 40 to 50 bill, so that's not too crazy. There should be a sale. Usually there's the cube sale around May, like around the anniversary. So it might be like after the 5, 10, 15, start saving for that. Because you want to glowing cube over this, right? You don't want to have to bright cube over it, because this should be very simple to get back if you do need to settle back. And you don't want to have to IED, right?
You would blue.
I would just save more money and then just glowing over it, rather than, because it's like a little bit of a paradox, but by being safer with bright cubes, you're spending more per roll, and then you're actually closer to guaranteeing that within the same amount of money, you're not going to make an upgrade because of the cost. So if you look at that in the calculator, the average cost, so it should be like 40 to 50 if I'm not mistaken. 100, go away, I already gave you money. Emblem, 33 attack, should be, about 40, 41. And then if you use bright instead, it goes up to 75 to hit that same potential. Now the chance to hit 36 is like 400 here, and if you do that with glowing, right, then you're saving 80 bill. So if you're aiming for 36, then it's great what you're doing now. But if you are trying to hit 33, it's better to just save up more money and then just maybe look at these numbers instead, right? Look at having closer maybe to 60 to 70, just to make sure that you can hit it. But otherwise, if you go back to something that you have now, where it's 23, I don't know. Why is there a 24 on a level 200 item and not a 23? 21 plus? Well, that would increase. So I have to take this one. Shit, they don't have the actual number. Let me hit up my duder who can work on this. Shit, now I forgot his name. Seth. Sethy boy. The percentages in the emblem level 200 bit off should be so 20% plus and 23% plus. There is now 21 and 24 there, which is awkward since those percentages don't exist on level 200 gear. He'll look at that when he has time. But I guess it's like 5 to 6 bill or something just to get it back, if you do get towards the end of your money and you don't have it. Because by being safer, you're basically closer to guaranteeing that you're not going to hit it within the same money. So save more, look at the cost, save more, and then fully commit to it with glowings is what I would do. So it might be a good idea to just put that as a project for the cube sale on 5.10.15, because then you're basically going to pull this down by 25%, so it's barely going to be over 30 bill. So you save 10 bill on that, and basically a whole week worth of money gain on that. And that's probably, I mean, looking through the other things is probably also the next thing to do. Because if you were to do a secondary, just to compare, you know, the cost for that, if you wanted to do 30% attack on a secondary, that number is a lot spookier. So for secondary, you're more likely to hit the 2-line attack and 1-line boss combo. But then this, of course, includes the 35.99 as well. Although I think 35.99 is probably an upgrade for you to this, right? Yeah, that would still be an upgrade.
Yeah.
But that's the thing you would do again. I would do with glowing just on the side on another secondary. Because again, if you were to do this with bright cubes to hit it, oh, not any, to get like the similar. Where the fuck is that potential? Attack. And while I was here. It's already more again, right? See, it's already almost double. If you're looking for a specific pot like this would be really nice. But then the cost is going to go up a lot because, you know, it excludes all the other potential outcomes. So now it's like more than double. But yeah, but those are probably like in terms of big projects, the next thing to look at like full cubing wise, because you're just going to be waiting for pitches and eternals anyway, and waiting for events, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have that one line of drop rate you can still do. Maybe you do that around the same time as the sale, because again, yeah, that extra 20% that's gonna haunt you a little bit probably, but it's also not gonna completely make or break your character, right? Yeah.
I feel like I should just get it over with.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Because I already spent so much. No, I mean, I wouldn't say so much, but like some people have.
No, you're spending well over. Yeah, you spend it over an extra standard deviation, right? You're basically at like 85%, 85th percentile when you're playing a double the average.
See a double. Yeah, I just can't see a double drop. I see hybrids, and I don't want a hybrid.
Hybrids at that, yeah.
And then, yeah, just.
Yeah, it's like 15 bill. See, like 85th percentile is 28 bill. But that means that 1 in 7 people spend this much, which is not that crazy. Because if 6 other people spend less than you and one person hits it in like 5 bill, then that's going to happen as well. Because that's the crazy thing about the percentiles. You think like, oh wow, these numbers are crazy. This is like, oh, that's 75%. That's 1 in 4. 1 in 4. Wait, how many people cube during during an event? Oh, 1,000 people. So that means 250 people are going to spend this much. Now that feels a little bit, you know, that's why I start playing things a lot safer, and start feeling, you know, more lucky, knowing that you're actually lucky or not. And it's also like, oh, if you feel very unlucky because one item went really high, well, if 2 other items went a bit below average, maybe you're not unlucky. Maybe you're just like around that average, and usually you will be. And if you're not, then you just haven't upgraded enough, because eventually you will be again, you know?
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see after this event.
Yep. The other Star Force, yeah, you got a lot of 22s. These are all done. It's looking good. Yeah, your Star Force is super solid. Yeah. So it's probably just going to be mostly cubing stuff going on.
Yeah, pretty lucky with the Star Forcing, I would say, or people would tell me all the time.
They tell me all the time.
They tell me, I don't know, they just come, you know, I started in January 2024. Like this, like January 1st. So, I don't know, I feel like...
New Year's resolution, play more MapleStory.
No, I mean, like, compared to them who've been playing for years, they're like, yeah you're pretty lucky.
That's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, you know. So I'm like at that slow grind with everybody else. Get Eternals, and you know, I have a lot of, you know, fake 3 lines. So trying to get actual 3 line would be good.
Yeah. Like a triple prime shoulder here. The glove with the 13 int though. That's like a punch in the liver. That one.
It is a little bit, but I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it. Like, keep it for now.
Yeah. I mean, again, like if you look at the calculator, you have to get pretty far for that to become like the next thing. But it's mostly when you're considering triple priming. It's pretty much at that point, like 2-line critical damage and line of stat. becomes like not too crazy. Again, like right now, like 54 bill, that's like out there. But you know, if the other thing is like, yeah,
that was definitely not 54 bill.
no, I mean like the triple. No, that's like just 2-line critical damage is more like 8 or something. Yeah, it's like 8.8.
Yeah.
But if the third line is like happens to be your stat, that's like you save like 46 bill basically.
Right. That's true.
But this is about the same cost if you're going to like triple like an accessory going for like 36% on it is about the same. But then you're probably already at a 33, so you're gaining 3%. But if you're doing it on a glove, you're gaining 10%. So that's way more efficient at that point, right? But yeah, going to that or going over, you're going to be so much further in the game. If you're even close to being able to get the limbo, then, you know, don't do this at all. Just go for the limbo, get the glove, and then try to do it on the limbo glove, you know? In the same way that you're not going to go double critical damage on an Abzu glove because you're going to get the arcane quickly, and then just do that on an arcane glove instead. And get the value out of there.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I guess there were some, I think in general, your flames probably could use some work, but I don't know, how are you approaching flames?
Not recently. I was kind of working on my weapon, like any type of thing that I
like
have.
for all the event flames are going there, or
yeah, pretty much. I haven't really looked at. I mean, I'm sure if I were to optimize, which ones would I start with?
Yeah, so what I like to look at is just the delta basically on like what is your current flame versus what would be a good flame to aim for, and then just see what is the average expected amount of flames that you would need to use, and then just whatever is the lowest amount, just prioritize on flaming that one until you get a better flame, and just basically always have at least one flame on your account that's just absolute dog shit, but it's fine because one flame in your whole account is unnoticeable, right? And then slowly just walk them all up. But you definitely want to have somewhere in the back of your head a priority on a type of flame where you're going to use those. Like if you're getting abyssal flames, those are always going to go into your weapon, right? Until that thing is just like beyond broken. Unless it is beyond broken, and then it probably goes into Eternals, just like the regular slew. Like weapon top priority, then Eternals, then pitches, then anything else that's like still alive. Like Eternals only go on things that have a large chance of upgrading, and if you have a lot of them, or they go on boss mules probably. And then powerfuls just go on anything to hit anything, and then go into the wait list to get black flamed essentially. So yeah, it's good to sometimes just like throw them in just to have an idea. These numbers are now generally accurate. Let's see. Your CMA weapon. Oh, so like your pendant, for example. This one is 45.5, 95, 97. Here. And even just with powerfuls, I think like on average, yeah, there's only like a 45 flame average cost, like less than a half a bill, the flame that you have on your source. So if you wanted to get to like, I would probably keep going until you have like 125 or something, and until you hit that, just like keep flaming over it, honestly, because even that, like that's like 3 to 4 bill, but that item is gonna stay with you for so long, and that's just with powerful. If you have Eternals or something, like that's not even that crazy. It's like, you know, like 100, 150 going towards 200 flames, but it's not super crazy. And who knows, you know, you might hit a 140 or 150 or 180 or so even exists, right? So usually for pitches, if you're going to use them, I would at least aim for 125. Yeah, try mark is fine. I mean, you can go like one item at a time. Can see, like, yeah, weapon's good now. That's, you can black flame over that, but I probably would use the black flames in your account first and kind of bring them all up to like a good amount. So for that, I use my progression grid. Kind of look at the numbers here and like aim for those depending on aim for. God damn it! Get your ass over here. Okay. Based on the stage of the game that you're in, so you're going for end of late game here. So you want to go for these stats here. Wait, is that stat accurate actually? 64. I thought you were pretty... you're 62.3. Okay. And I basically aim for, when it comes to the flames... Aim for these flame scores here. So you got the tier 7 plus already. I'll go for like 115 on the 140 items. 160-ish for the 250 items. So everything in between. For the 250 items, that is it, yeah. And then for the level 160 items, so you'd be a little bit in between. But closer to 140. So like 125 to 130-ish probably for like pitch stuff. And then arcane is 200. So that'd be more like 135 to 140-ish. Around there. Yeah, and then for the non-flame advantage for the superior, early 40s, maybe towards mid 40s, basically, is fine, especially if you're already starting to get into pitch, because you don't want to be locked in there for too long. But you also don't want to lose out on easy value, because if it's like, hey, 10 flame score here, 20 here, 30 there, 5 there, you add it all up, and suddenly there's like another 600 stat you could just pull out of your ass, right? Instead of throwing like thousands of flames onto the weapon, with the very, very, very small chance maybe you're in like the 10,000s of flames range there to get an upgrade there.
Right.
It's fine to do that, but you know, when you get to that point, and not like try to skip the line there too much. So a lot of accessories you don't have to work on. Dropper gear is all fine. The CRA, the top could probably be a little bit better. But this one is fine. This one is at like, as long as it's over 100, you're Gucci. So, this one's like 90 plus. This one's 90 plus. But this one's, yeah, this one's lower 90. Yeah, you want to get out of CRA soon anyway. It's like 85. So 135. Yeah, so 135, 135. And this one's with attack. So this one's a little bit higher. Yeah, so it's lower bound, but I would say like these are acceptable, right? But like for 22, that's a little bit on the low side usually. So if you're like working up to like, if this is like a 19-star piece with this flame, I would say like that's perfectly balanced. But for like a 21 or a 22, typically you like to see those flames like around 10 flame score higher each, which that's not that much at this point. So it's not as much a priority if I'm just looking through everything, just something like in the back of my mind. If I'm thinking about, you know, what to do with flames, because flames these days is just like you just pick them up from the stores. You don't really go out of your way to buy a whole bunch of flames anymore. It just doesn't work like that really. You can for pitches maybe if you don't hit with your Eternals, but like for your weapon you never will, and maybe for Eternals you will. Yeah, maybe for pitches and Eternal, but for everything else just event stuff. Dependent could probably gain some stuff here because it's just 24, so probably get this to something like 20 and 2 all-stat or something like that at least. That should be pretty cheap. You don't have flame advantage, so it's a little bit shittier. But just something like 40, not flame advantage. Armor 140. I would almost never use Eternals on non-flame advantage stuff. Powerful. Oh, is that right? Is that only 40 flames? That seems a bit low, but that should go up really, really quickly if you. That feels. Is that right? Is it that cheap? Okay, maybe it is. I don't have 100% perfect recall on all the flame score costs, but yeah. So definitely these two pendants. Between the two, I think you can easily gain like 40 to 45 flame score between the two of them. Pet Mark could probably be a bit better. Just probably try to get it like around the same level as the Twilight Mark, or a little bit lower, because Twilight Mark is on the slightly higher side. But yeah, something like 30 flame score gain or something, probably on the Pet Mark. Like I said, like, you know, just one at a time, working them up. So just focus on one, get it higher, and then focus on the other one. But like powerfuls, I would throw in here. If you have any Eternals, I'd definitely throw that onto the source, right? Higher level item, more of a source candidate, Eternal candidate, especially on a more permanent item and higher level. The Eternals and a lower level item and no flame advantage, that's a powerful item angle, right? Because even if you completely fuck up this flame, you lose 24 strength. Big whoop. But the upside is so big and the downside is 0. So that's definitely one where you can throw some flames on. So I guess it's mostly those. And then you can maybe bring the CRA up, but you know, you definitely don't want to go out of your way and spend a whole lot of money because you want to have that all ready towards the Eternals. So I'll probably focus on those accessories for now. That's probably Pet Mark and those two pendants. That's probably where I focus for now. Yeah, Q ring has got 12 and 4. and a little bit of dex, like that's totally fine. That's on like on a 50. Yeah, it's on like a 52 rate, right? Yeah, it's like a 200 flame versus a 20 or a 40 on the other one. Okay. So the Star Forcing plan, Flaming plan, and cubing plan, and leveling plan, mule plan, familiar plan. I think we covered everything, right?
Yeah.
Talked about KMS a little bit, things that are coming. Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, you're very welcome. I hope everything works out Sunday.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
hopefully this hat goes so that you. Yeah, it's good to stay flexible, you know, in case it doesn't happen, that you could just change up your strategy if you're familiar with your options. But you know, ideally it goes, and then that cleans out the path very clearly, that you could just then go for 2 backups or 2 pieces of each, and then just go from the 2 set to the 4 set immediately, and then that's a cleaner way of going through it. So I hope that path opens itself up for you.
I hope so. It's just, yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Ooh. Fingers crossed, definitely.
Yeah. Light a candle in your Orange Jesus shrine, say your prayers, and everything will be well.
Thanks. Good luck to you too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I've also have some Eternals to do, so I hope this time is the charm. Hopefully that goes. But yeah, if there's anything else or anything comes up based on what we talked about, or forgot anything, hit me up on Discord, or just swing by the chat and we'll help you out. And keep an eye on the YouTube channel, and then if you want to, or if you just want to look it back, because it's a lot of information, like condensed in a small amount of time. But I think we went through it pretty structured, because you have some main questions that we were able to. So probably don't have to like rewatch it 3 times to figure everything out. I think we were able to take a chunk, digest it, and move on to the next one. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right. Well, have a good rest of your day and a good weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. And bye-bye. All right. Yeah, hopefully Seth can look into the thing with the calculator. That's really weird. I never... Did you guys ever run into that one? Where it's a level 200 item and then the emblem? Like it has the... Here it is 20, 23, and 26%. And here it is 21, 24, 27, 30, 33, 36, 39. And this should also be 20, 23, 26. Otherwise, it's grouping the wrong potentials together. Or, I mean, not wrong, but like it's not grouping realistic percentages together that you would actually want to know the cost for. You know, because they're going to be desynced. But yeah. You ever used the calculator ever? Oh, I use it every now and then just to get an idea of like, is it even something that I want to spend my money on, or is this just a bad idea, you know? But yeah, hopefully people in a similar situation, this has helped you out a little bit, or given you some perspective on the options on how to progress and, within your account and within the game. If you have any follow-up questions, let me know, or leave a comment in the video. And I stream every day over at twitch.tv/Scardor, at least for foreseeable future. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm available through here, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Discord, anywhere, even on X/Twitter. You can still reach me for as long as that platform is still alive. Seeing as Musk is trying to drive that thing into the ground faster than you can say, is that a porn bot? But yeah, hopefully 1 or 2 things were elucidated. If they weren't, or you have any follow-up questions, let me know. And I will see you either in live stream or enjoy another video on the channel. Thanks for watching.